Hey, good morning and welcome to Q&A with Dr. Gray. We're going to have Dr. John Gray join us right now. Dr. Gray, as you know, if you're following him already and you don't live under a rock, you know that he wrote the unbelievable book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. John has been on every national news program I think that exists. He's been on Oprah 18 different times. He is one of the wisest people that I know, and I'm honored to call him a friend. Welcome Dr. Gray to his own show. Welcome, John.
Thank you, Ken, and welcome everybody. I'm really excited about doing these question and answer sessions. And today we've got a special guest. Tiffany's going to be here fielding the questions and commenting and sharing. And she's an amazing lady. And I think a lot of single women will relate to what she has to say because she's single. And also married couples, we all face the same issues when it comes to understanding how men and women are different, how we can get more love in our relationships, how we can be happier, how we can get more of what we want. So today is really exciting for me.
I'm excited too. Tiffany is a friend of mine, as are you. And we decided to put this together last week. I'm like, John, there's a lot of people asking questions. Let's answer them. So we're doing an open Q&A with you for anybody to ask any questions. Tiffany Savage is she lives up to her last name. She is a savage. I'm telling you, this lady, she's known as politically savvy on all social media platforms. She's beautiful on the inside and on the outside. She's an amazingly intelligent, so smart lady. I'm so honored to have her join us, and I'm going to bow out and let you guys talk. But Tiffany, welcome to Q&A with Dr. Gray.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited, John. It's such a pleasure to share stage with you. And of course, Ken, we go way back. So I love you dearly. Thank you so
I
much for
love you
having
too. Love you too. All right, I'm going to let you guys, I want to let the audience know before I jump out, and you guys, y'all go ahead and remind them over and over. Any questions that you have, put them in the comments. We'll pop them up on, we're going to pop up as many as we can. We're going to do this over an hour or so where Dr. Gray will be answering your questions and Tiffany will be discussing them with John. So
you. Who knows what's going to come
We have
out?
answers too. We all have answers inside.
that's right. That's right. So here we go.
Well, Tiffany, tell me, when did you read Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, and what were some of the good things about that you liked? You know, it's like, what's the takeaway from that book for you?
Oh, goodness. Well, I'll tell you when I first heard about it. So I am from the Clueless generation. And it was mentioned in that movie where one of the girls is like, this week I'm reading Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. And I'm like, what is this? And I was young at that time. So I was like, oh, okay, let's find this book. So I went to a local Barnes and Noble and got the book. And it's fascinating to see the actual differences between men and women are thinking, actions, and just sort of looking at the other sex in in a different light. It's really fascinating.
So, one of the basic ideas of Men Are From Mars, for those who haven't heard that book, and I've written 20 books later, uh, is for a lot of women would say to me when they're dating a guy or when they're in a relationship with a guy, one of the big ahas was when he pulls away. It's not always about him, about her at all. It's just he has a need to busy himself in work, and then he needs to withdraw. He pulls away, and then he comes out of his cave. So the idea, so many women would come up to me and say, gosh, I'm so glad to learn about men's caves, because so many times when he would pull away, if you're looking at it only from a woman's point of view, when my wife pulls away, she wants me to come find her at some point and say, hey, what's the matter? What's going on? Initiate a conversation. So she would like go find him in his cave and initiate a conversation. What's going on? Do you want to talk about it? And he's like, no. It's like, so when my wife didn't want to talk about it, usually she was mad at me. So easy for a woman to misinterpret a man, thinking that, well, if he doesn't want to talk about something, he must be mad at me. And that's not always the case. It could be it's the case, but by being alone and in his cave, he's able to let go of being mad at you or annoyed by you or bothered, or it could just be something at work and he needs to decompress. And one of the big differences between men and women is hormones. That's what I didn't know about in Men Are From Mars. And later on, since there was so much opposition to Men Are From Mars, even though people loved the book, I had to like defend the idea that men and women are different. I mean, we know the whole joke about what is a woman? And then the woman says, well, you need to have a biologist to explain that. We've got so far away from common sense. And so what I've done is developed a whole body of information over the last 15 years of the hormonal differences between men and women that actually explain the differences that I explained in Men Are From Mars.
Right. Well, we have our first question, John. This question is from P. Shy. My husband has been an alcoholic for 35 years. He's 45. Now, or how can I apply your principles with him since he's not like a normal man?
Well, if a man, one of the things that that separates a man who's capable of having a relationship and a man who's not capable of having a relationship is an alcoholic or any drug addict. When you're addicted to a drug, you really have your partners with somebody else in the relationship. You're no longer number one. And one of my most important messages is for marriages to survive and for love to last in a relationship. The most important factor is hormones. There's a hormone called prolactin. And prolactin happens after sex. And if you're in a committed relationship, prolactin increases 5 times, 500% more prolactin than if you just had sex with somebody. Mm-hmm. You don't feel that you're number one in a relationship, that you're not having to share that relationship with somebody else, his alcohol or his drugs or whatever's turning him on. You have to be the source of turning him on. And so when a man has an addiction, he can no longer give you that support. And therefore, when you make love together, your body doesn't make prolactin. And prolactin is the bonding hormone. Oxytocin, everyone knows oxytocin helps women to lower stress. It's a very temporary thing. It's an attachment. So when she's having sex with her husband, she attaches on him. But he's not committed to her because he's committed to something else, okay, for his happiness. He's looking to alcohol to make him happy. Now, moderate alcohol is fine, but if you have an addiction, you're never going to get the prolactin. You're always going to have what's often called in psychology is anxious attachment. Basically, he'll pull away and you'll go anxious, you'll go upset, you'll feel needy, you'll feel demanding, you'll feel unhappy. And when you're unhappy, you'll start to complain, you'll start to criticize, you'll start to control. All kinds of bad stuff comes out when you're in a relationship where there's anxious attachment. He will have avoidant attachment, which is he can't even fully attach to you because he's already attached to his alcohol. So addictions inhibit success in marriage. So what can she do? She loves the guy. She can say, look, we can't be together. We can do a temporary separation until you get help and get rid of your addiction. Because literally, it can't be successful. It's like, is there something she can do? No, there's nothing she can do other than set a boundary. And this is always the case, is women get caught up into, let me help him, let me give to him. And that's all part of their anxious attachment. Anxious attachment is, another word for that is, there was a great book before you were born, Tiffany, but it's a great book, I think, for women to read. It's called Codependent No More. Have you heard that term?
I've read that book.
Oh, you read it. Okay. It's another superstar book as far as I'm concerned. And it helped me in developing the ideas for Men Are From Mars because, women say, I understand women so well, but that book helped me understand women along with 45 years of counseling. But listening to women all day long, you kind of realize that they're very different from the way I think or the way most men think. So in codependence, what happens is women will tend to make their partner's needs more important than their own. And that activates a very loving feeling like you would have with a child.
Right.
But if you have feelings towards a man, if you make a man a child, your project that you're going to help him and support him and so forth, if it's a sexual relationship, you'll never make the prolactin. You'll have more and more anxiety, and the way you cope with your anxiety is to feel the power of, oh, I can help him. You can't help him. So this is where you have to lovingly set a boundary and let him know that, hey, I love you. We got a family together. Maybe we have a family, but we have not. But we need to separate temporarily till you get help and get rid of this addiction. And what's so interesting is once you actually start to get rid of the addiction, they come back, right? Addictions come back. It's hard to be free of them because your brain kind of changes. The most powerful thing to change your brain back to not being an addictive brain is prolactin. Prolactin is like a governor that keeps your brain from going to super high levels of dopamine. It used to be, probably still is the case, back when I used to drive fast cars, is I couldn't import a car into America that had like 500 horsepower.
Sure.
Okay? You'd have to put a governor on it.
Mm-hmm.
These ridiculous laws that you have to go 55 miles an hour. Do you know in California why they set in the law, the 55 mile an hour law? Do you know why that happened?
No, I don't.
This was back in I think it was in the 70s or 80s when they had the gas shortage and there were all these long lines. And so somebody said, oh, well, we should save gas and limit the speed limit. Germany, of course, has some intelligence here where they have one lane for people who like to drive fast, and then next lane and the next lane for slow people, medium and slow. And if you have a fast lane, what they found is less accidents. I mean, anybody who drives fast is going to be a better driver unless they're drunk. So basically, let's let the better drivers do what they do. Let everybody else go what they do. This is logic. This makes sense. But what we have is control, manipulation, which is always... Even back then, they're trying to control us, holding us back from our full potential by telling us there's a shortage. Like supposedly there was a shortage of gasoline, which has now been disproved.
Well, I think too, going back to P. Shy's comment or her question, you have to have someone who is actually wanting to make that change. If he recognizes that within himself, he's got to want to do that. He has to want to better himself, not just for him, but also for his wife and his family. And I think that's a hard line as a wife, a girlfriend, whatever, to be able to set that boundary and say, okay, until you have made this decision that you want to do better for yourself, for me, for our family, I have got to, we need to separate. We have to set these boundaries because that's not healthy for her either, because in a lot of instances, the female turns out to almost be an enabler, right? Just to keep that person happy, right? Or just
you're absolutely right. She is enabling. I think, part of my message is that women have the power to bring out the best in men. And one of the ways when they allow men to not give them what they need in this more extreme way, she enables him to keep getting her love. But unfortunately, it's not the kind of love that a man needs. So if we can think about love as different flavors of ice cream, okay, so there's different flavors and they have a different effect on men. One flavor has an effect on men, another flavor has an effect on women. And we can make this point scientifically when you look at our hormones. Mm-hmm. For men to feel motivated and positive and selfless and motivated to make his wife happy, because he's clearly not making his wife happy in doing this. He's lost his motivation. He's just thinking about himself. Well, his hormones are out of balance. What happens when a man, when he's in balance, when he feels good about himself and he doesn't have addictions, what he does every day will produce the hormone testosterone. Mm-hmm. If he's not making enough testosterone, his cortisol levels will go up and his estrogen levels will go up, and now he'll seek something outside myself to feel happy.
Right.
For most men, when they're happy and fulfilled, the fulfillment primarily comes from the results of their actions, what they're doing for other people. If I'm helping other people, if I'm solving problems, if I'm achieving goals, then happiness follows me. And this is different. For women, it's when they get what they need to give, happiness is fulfilled, is experienced for her. Women love to give. I mean, giving feels so good, but you can't give unless you have something to give.
Right.
So when a woman receives, then her highest happiness comes by giving back, but only because she's received. For a man, his highest happiness comes when he achieves a goal and he gets rewarded for it. That's one level of happiness. But then his highest happiness comes when the results of my actions, I can now share these with you, my partner, unconditionally. Selflessness. This is the ultimate. When we think about a politician who's in politics in order to make money, it's always going to be about me, me, me. But when a politician has enough money, and he has a family where he's giving to his family, that's selflessness, then he's capable of being a politician to serve the world without becoming corrupt.
Right.
Men will always become corrupt if they don't have a woman that brings out the best in him, because it's a woman's love which will elevate to the highest level when he's committed to her.
Right.
So these are hormonal things. For her to feel the love that can bring out the best in a man, her estrogen levels need to go really high in his presence. If her estrogen is low, her stress levels will be high.
That's true.
If a man's testosterone is low, his stress levels will be high. And when you go into stress, you no longer can think about others. You're thinking about yourself and your survival, and you're thinking me, me, me. And so the idea of relationships is they humanize us from being just sort of conditioned responses, automatic responses that evolved over thousands of years, or they're just our lower survival responses. You have to get beyond survival to where you can give selflessly as a leader.
That's true. We have another question, John. This is from, and I'm so sorry, Eva, if I mispronounced your name. I am Southern, so everything comes out a little different. So Ava DeBruin, how do you discuss it with a man if you disagree with his way of raising your children without disapproving him?
Okay.
Now, I would need clarification from this, because is he a stepfather or is he a biological father? Because I do have a daughter, and if you don't mind, I would like to take the lead on this one.
Yeah.
And her biological father and we co-parent so well. That is one thing that we could write books on this, because before we ever decided to have her, we sat down and we had the discussions on a lot of even discipline. How are we going to look at discipline? How are we going to look at the father? The father is the head of the household, so whatever he says, it doesn't go. We had those different discussions. Now, as far as the step parent is concerned, I am a daughter of a step parent, of two step parents whom I love more than anything in this world, as much as my biological parents. And I will tell you that I was in on those discussions between them, because, there has to be an understanding of how, and discussions between the biological parent and the step parent, and being able to sit down. And if there is an issue, I've always been an advocate for fair fight rules, meaning you sit down if you have an issue with your partner and you're like, all right, this is what I have an issue with. And then once you're done talking, the partner then basically repeats back what they think they have heard. And if it's on point, great, you move on. If it's not, then I would come in and be like, actually, no, let me try to reword it in a different way so we understand. but you must have that open line of communications. You have to have the boundaries. And for instance, for uh, my daughter's biological dad, we were married for a long time. And when it comes to a new person, if a new person enters the relationship, whether it be on his side or my side, we always introduce that person first to the biological parent before they even meet our daughter, because we want to make sure that there's an understanding that, for instance, that Jason and I, we are the we are the top dogs when it comes to disciplining our daughter. Input, fine. But as far as punishment or anything, that needs to be discussed, for instance, with me, or if it was a girlfriend or a new wife of Jason, that would have to be discussed with Jason first, and making sure that it goes along with the standards and the boundaries that we had set before we even had our daughter. So it doesn't have to be a conversation where you're like, oh, I'm so nervous about having this conversation about parenting my kids, because in the you know in the long run, those are your children, and you want to make sure that they have the best of anyone who is in their life, but you want to make sure that everyone is on that same path and you're actually able to move forward as a team, because that child is ultimately what's most important and what you are building up for the future.
Okay, that was wonderful. I have another comment to make on the question, which is you really got to the heart of the matter when she says, how do you do this, disagree with each other without disapproving of each other? Disapproval is an emotional reaction. It's a judgment that comes from a stress response inside, where I disapprove. Disagreement is, we might call that a Mars talk. A Venus talk is where you express emotion. And emotion is feelings, and feelings are transitory. I don't like that, or I'm angry when you do that, or I'm afraid if you do that. You bring emotions into something, and now you're no longer going to be logical, and you're going to get stressed, and you're going to have issues, and you're going to have resistance. So what I like to do when it comes to most important things, like if you disagree on the way you're parenting your children, that's a big, big deal, because everybody wants your children to be the best and get the most. So it's an emotionally charged thing. So if you're going to talk about parenting skills, you need to have a conversation and call it a Mars talk. And a Mars talk, you do in my book, I talk about Mars talks. It's the same thing you're talking about here, is you leave emotions out of it completely. This is what I'm going to say. This is what I think is the best. And before you speak, you need to refer back to what I just said. Okay. And even before you get to speak, you have to say, so what I heard you say is this, and then you have to compliment it. That makes sense, or I can see it's a good idea. Then the other person gets to speak. I mean, this is like Harley chart. My normal conversations don't go through this whole process.
Right.
But when you're talking about a highly charged situation, you have to leave emotions out of it. If emotions start coming into it, then you stop the conversation, and then you come back. In a sense, you go to your corners, come back to your life feeling happy with each other. Then you say, let's try it again without the emotional charge, because you cannot create a change in somebody's thinking when you're emotionally charged. Because when you're emotionally charged, and that's disapproving of your partner, disapproving of their way of doing it, that is trying to change somebody.
And I would also want to add that I wouldn't have a conversation like this later in the evening, because you've already gone through your day. You're probably exhausted, and you never know what little thing may trigger either yourself or your loved one that you're having this discussion with. So if you can put this, if you can schedule a time, and I know that sounds silly to do it, but it's true.
It's a really good idea. You find a time in the day where you're not stressed.
Exactly.
You're looking forward to it. You're anticipating it. You're already thinking about what your point of view is.
Correct.
Another real practical thing on this is find a book on parenting and read it together. His book and her book. So now you're looking at other people who really thought this thing through. You might be able to do that. I know that I personally have a great book, which is called Children Are From Heaven But also there's another book, which I really like that my daughter's using. She's, as far as I'm concerned, she's a better parent than me. You know, you learn every generation, but it's called Hunt Gather Parent. That's another powerful parenting book where you can discuss ideas based upon an idea, sort of bring another authority figure into it, who rightly so has put a lot of time and energy into thinking about this. Not that you're going to just religiously follow whatever they say, but you work it out, find your own way that works for you. But the key thing is to keep emotions out of the conversation. That's a Mars talk. Buffer it by what I'm saying is this, and now before you can talk, you have to tell me what I said and compliment it. And there's a lot of ways you can compliment. It was a good idea. Well, that makes sense to me. Well, I hadn't thought of that. I can consider that. These are what I call emotional buffers. Now, there's another aspect that you brought up, which is really key, which is don't do it at night when you're stressed. What happens for couples is after a day of work, men often need to withdraw from their emotional side, which is the estrogen, to rebuild their testosterone. And women often need to process the stress of their day by talking about their day. And if they can talk about their day and express emotions about their day, that will produce more estrogen, and estrogen will lower her stress. Now, a lot of people aren't familiar with my ideas, so let me just preface all of this with understanding the biology, which is whenever a woman is stressed, first of all, a man or a woman, when you're stressed, blood flow stops to the prefrontal cortex of your brain where you can think logically and you can have your heart be open. Okay, so that's like a key thing. But now we look at the difference between men and women, which is universal. This is universal. Every man has a certain hormonal balance, which is almost the opposite of a woman for him to manage stress. Men need to make 10 to 20 times more testosterone during his day, or at any time. He needs to have around 10 or 20 times more testosterone than a woman. Otherwise, he will be producing stress hormones, which close his heart. For women, she needs to be making, if she's cycling up towards ovulation, she needs to be making 10 to 20 times more estrogen than a man would need to make. Otherwise, she'll be stressed. And after ovulation, she needs to be making more progesterone than estrogen. So women have a very complicated hormonal system going on here. And if a man doesn't know how to support those hormones in her, or she doesn't know how to support it herself, but also get his help to do that, she will be stressed. And if she's stressed, what she's got going on is suppressed emotions that will come out in any charged conversation. So I suggest regular Venus talks. A Venus talk looks like this. I always encourage my wife to say, tell me about your day. And then I help guide her even, because I'm very good at this. But even if you don't have a guy who's good at it, all she has to do is be good at it, which is express things that are frustrating to her that have nothing to do with him. Things that were disappointing to her, which has nothing to do with him. In your case, Tiffany, you could be talking about politics, and your frustrations in politics, your disappointments, your worries, your concerns, or maybe something you said or did that was embarrassing. These are emotions, because when women can feel emotion and share it without the intent of having somebody fix her or change her, but someone just to listen, then what happens is those emotions go away. They're gone. And what they're replaced automatically by positive feelings. And this is the big difference between men and women, is that one of the major ways for women to lower stress is being able to share feelings. The problems that couples have is that women will tend to push down their feelings during the day because you can't change anything. You got to solve problems. Your feelings aren't going to be accepted or understood, but they get suppressed. And then when you get home, they will tend to become displaced onto your partner, someone that you can change. So it's important. A Venus talk is where you don't talk about your feelings about your partner or the relationship or even project it onto yourself. You try to think about things in the outer world that you really can't change that well. They're kind of like, nothing I can do about it now, but at least you can talk about your emotions about it. And that will produce estrogen, that will lower her stress, and that will bring her closer to her partner as long as he doesn't talk. This is a key to a Venus talk. It's for her to talk and him just to listen. And
yes,
she just says, I just need to talk, and put a limit on it. If you say, I just need to talk 10 minutes, if a man knows there's a limit, it will keep his testosterone up, without having to solve any problems. Because the main thing for men to solve problems is to keep your testosterone up. So
But do not, guys, do not look at your women and be like, all right, sweetie, you got 10 minutes. Here's a timer, go. Because that will not end well.
no,
Okay.
that's not for now. This is for just a Venus talk.
Yes,
This is,
exactly.
this is a Venus talk. She says to him, it will only take 10 minutes. And you learn how to just share frustrations and disappointments. This is not a normal conversation. This is a Venus talk. And you keeps his attention fully focused on you. And there's something amazing about a man being silent but listening. There's something happens in his brain that most people don't know. And that is, in science, there's this thing called mirror neurons. The mirror neurons in the brain are open most of the time for women. That means you can feel what somebody else is feeling. So when a man has a moderate stress, his mirror neurons completely close. So if you say, let's talk, often men's stress level goes up. And that, what it means is his mirror neurons go down. And now he's like, all right, how do I try to explain to her she shouldn't feel what she's feeling? How do I solve her problem and all that? But if you say to him, you don't have to say anything, just listen. I'm only going to talk about some things at work. It's not about you. Or I'm going to talk about something else that's bothering me. And it's not you. If you tell a man he's not the problem, he'll be the solution. And if the solution is that I just have to listen, then his mirror neurons will open up. And when his mirror neurons open up, he connects with you. You feel the connection. Estrogen levels go up.
All right. Well, we have another. That was a great discussion, by the way. We have another question. This is from Hellhound Rivethead Studios. John, my mother just got diagnosed with dementia. I feel like it is slight. I would like to give her lithium orotate, though Google says it could overdose her on lithium mixed with her other meds.
Oh, this is my subject. Oh, I love it. Thanks for the question. Hellhound. Okay, so basically, I've been promoting lithium orotate, which is different from what psychiatrists give, which is called lithium carbonate. So you have a mineral, and what is the mineral bonded to? Is it just out of the ground, which is lithium carbonate, or do you isolate the lithium and through a process bond it with uric acid, which is a substance in mother's milk? And this substance helps the lithium cross the blood-brain barrier. Lithium carbonate does not cross the blood-brain barrier. So when somebody had bipolar, for example, bipolar is just overexcitement and crashing down, overexcitement and crashing down. It's an imbalance, a dysfunction in dopamine in the brain. And the brain requires lithium in order to restore that balance. But taking lithium out of the ground didn't work. What they found is that lithium springs, if somebody was bipolar, high ups and downs, or they had addictions, or they had a depression, or they weren't sleeping well, all of those conditions of the brain have to do with inhibited dopamine function. Bipolar was just more extreme. What they found is those symptoms all would temporarily go away for most people if they spent time in lithium springs and a hot tub with lithium in it. I actually had a wellness center at one point where I put lithium crystals into oxygenated water and pressurized it, and then had hot tubs, and people would come sit in that water and all their problems would go away.
There's a place like that, I think, in Switzerland, or in Iceland. Iceland is what it is. They've got a whole, I mean, you can put all that mud and stuff on your.
Well, that's the mud. The mud treatment is for minerals, but this if it has lithium in it. So the idea was, and I had all kinds of miracles. It was just too expensive. It was too hard to do. I quit it. But I became the number one promoter of what's called lithium orotate. Lithium orotate is taking the lithium, bonding it to a substance in mother's milk, and then it crosses the blood-brain barrier, and then you don't have to take high doses. What psychiatrists gave, because it wasn't a form of lithium that would cross the blood-brain barrier, is they would give a client 500 times the dose that you need. Imagine, it's a salt. Imagine eating 500 times the dose of salts that you need. You would have side effects.
Sure.
So when you look up lithium online, it will say, oh, you have to be careful not to take too much. Yeah, don't take 500 times the dose. I developed a product of lithium orotate, and I think it's the advanced design because it's also bonded with the other minerals that your brain needs to work with lithium. One is calcium orotate, magnesium orotate, and zinc orotate. When you bond these things all together, you get an advanced design which allows lithium to get into the brain and function in an optimal level. And now the research, I've been promoting it 24 years. In the last 10 years, Harvard's been doing a study. This is why the question's coming up. Mm-hmm. Harvard did a study. It took 10 years to show that lithium orotate, they're recommending to be a treatment for Alzheimer's and a treatment as preventative to Alzheimer's. And I know so many alternative doctors now are taking lithium orotate every day. It's a minor dose. It's like 5 to 10 milligrams of lithium itself, bonded to orotic acid. And it's been proven by them to help with Alzheimer's disease. Now, that would also help with dementia, and there's certain types of dementia that aren't directly associated with lithium, and that would be diabetes of the brain, which is blood sugar issues. So it's important to help the lithium helps restore dopamine, serotonin balance in the brain, but that then helps you to not have sugar cravings and overeat sugar, which causes all of the blood sugar imbalances that eventually lead to diabetes and diabetes of the brain. So it helps on both levels. And that's what the study had shown, which was amazing. Everybody should be taking it. I've been taking it. It was a big part of my own journey, Tiffany, because when I turned 50, I'm 74 now. When I turned 50, I had early stage Parkinson's, and I was able to reverse that. I have none now. If I'm really stressed out and I don't get much sleep traveling or whatever, I might have a little bit come back, a little involuntary shaking. But otherwise, I was able to treat that. And, people said, oh, you should I found a natural solution for it. You should tell Michael J. Fox. And so ironic, I used to have a lot of money and I had my private jet, and I was actually in an airport where Michael J. Fox's plane wasn't working. And I offered them, I said, why don't you just fly back to LA with me? And he didn't want to do that. But I could tell him about this product. Well, then I found the person another friend of mine, he raised the money for the center, Michael J. Fox Center in Las Vegas, $500 million. And I said, look, here's a natural solution for this problem. He said, we don't care about natural solutions. We need to put $500 million into this. We need to make our money back. It has to be something we can patent. Wow. And the whole program is anybody can do it. It's very simple. There's a man named Dr. Hinz. I do not give advice on how to reverse Parkinson's. I'm just sharing my own journey. Sure. Dr. Hinz, Hinz, go on PubMed and you'll see Dr. Hinz has a natural protocol that will stop the progression of Parkinson's. And it will also reverse it to various degrees for different people. So he has a protocol in there. It's Hinz, and go there. And then, of course, when he finds something that works, he's trained over 200 doctors with a natural protocol to improve dopamine function. Mm-hmm. And for the woman whose husband is an alcoholic, same treatment. It's all about inhibited dopamine function. Children with ADD, it's the same function of the brain. It just needs to restore the balance of dopamine and serotonin, and lithium is the key factor there. But once you have imbalances of the brain, you're not getting the nutritional support you need. It's all nutritional deficiency. You're not digesting your food. Most importantly, you're not getting the amino acids into your brain. So the way I healed it in the beginning is I looked at what were my symptoms of Parkinson's: involuntary shaking. And I thought, well, who else has involuntary shaking? Alcoholics when they go off of their drugs. Okay, when any addiction, you go off of a severe addiction, you go through the withdrawals, you lose your muscle control. You're also disturbed and you're unhappy and you're stressed and all that. Your dopamine stops functioning because you're dependent upon high dopamine stimulation. And when you take away the high dopamine stimulation, then you have no dopamine function. So I just looked at, okay, what are the best treatments for alcoholism? And I'm going to apply that for my Parkinson's. And there was a doctor, Dr. Hinz. No, this was another doctor, Dr. Hurt. And he was down in Mexico doing treatments that were illegal in America. Anything that's going to work, they want to make illegal in America. Right. So I went across, and what he provided was a amino acid drip, which is all the amino acids that would produce dopamine and serotonin in the brain. Then he also, that was pretty much the treatment he did. And because you have to bypass the stomach, you have to get it right into your veins, a particular concoction of balance of phenylalanine, tyrosine, and 5-HTP for serotonin. And that balance plus something for glutathione, which is your antioxidant in your body, plus a few other supplements, which you can see Dr. Hens listed out there. It's what I was getting through an IV drip. It was a $10,000 program. It took away all my symptoms of Parkinson's. All of the other people were there were heroin addicts, alcohol addicts, smoking addicts, OxyContin addicts. They all went off their drugs in a week without side effects. That's the whole point. You have to sit there and get an IV drip for 5 hours and feel tired. That was the only thing. And your addiction goes away for a while and then it comes back. So then I would go back and get the treatment again. So I figured out, okay, how do you just naturally do this? And you naturally do it by taking pre-digested proteins, protein peptides. Peptides are a big thing today. They're very expensive. You can actually do it very inexpensive with a protein shake of high quality protein, grass-fed, not heat processed. So it's an easy protein to break down. You need to have it be the right balance for humans. When you drink milk, it's 90% casein. Mother's milk is 50-50 casein and whey. So you get the right balance. So you get a balance of proteins and you add enzymes to the mix and you put it in warm water at body temperature, about 101 degrees, and let it sit for 45 minutes and it will digest itself. So you're getting all these peptides straight into your body and not having to pay for peptides or getting injections. And for me, that reversed my symptoms. It was a simple thing, is to get a protein shake, getting the right enzymes, doing the right treatment with it, taking the lithium orotate. And that's been my program for 25 years. I do that. Keeps my weight down. Also, it takes away hunger and takes away.
You look great, John.
Yeah.
You look great.
Oh, well, I look great. Well, thank you.
You look great. Yes.
I appreciate that.
To remind really quick anyone who is watching or streaming this on any platform to be sure to put your questions in the little comment section, because we are reading them and we have Dr. John Gray answering them. This is incredible.
Yeah, it's information. It's for most conditions, there are natural solutions. There's many wonderful people out there, but nobody teaches this. And it's always been sort of taboo to talk about lithium because the pharmaceutical industry doesn't want you taking it. In my opinion, you would never need, with good diet and lithium, you never need antidepressants. That's my dog.
My girls are outside in the back because they'll do the same thing.
Yeah, mine will tend to, when she sees me on the computer, she'll tend to want to come in and then she wants to go out.
She wants to be on camera. She's
Why don't you check out some of the comments? I'm going to let my dog out.
Yes, go right ahead. Ken, do we have any comments? Questions, comments?
We don't have any new ones as of right now. Some kind of obscure ones like, what does Tiffany think about homeschooling? Does Tiffany drink Coke or Pepsi?
That's a good question. Are you kidding? We love that. I love homeschooling.
Yes. If I could homeschool, 100% I would homeschool. I am very lucky where I live in the state of Georgia, and I'm also a helicopter parent. Okay, so I asked for the syllabus before the school year even starts, so I can see what my daughter will be taught. But I absolutely love homeschooling. I think it's incredible. I really do. Also, I think there was a question about Coke or Diet Coke. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. So the answer is yes to both. I love Coke and I love Diet Coke.
No, it was, do you drink Coke or Pepsi?
Oh, well, that should answer. I'm sorry.
Right.
Pepsi.
Right.
No.
Pepsi. Ooh, no to Pepsi. Hey, there is this question too, where to get it.
Oh. Okay, where do you get lithium orotate? You can, first of all, in other countries other than America, they can't sell it. That's the control of the pharmaceutical industry. It's never illegal to use it because it's not a drug. Okay, so it's not illegal to use it. It's only sold in America, and there may be ways of getting it in other countries. I don't know, but it's called lithium orotate, and it's the actual element lithium. You want to take 5 or 10 milligrams a day. If 10 milligrams causes your mouth to feel dry, then cut it back, but most people can handle that. And you don't need to test it in your bloodstream. If you were taking lithium carbonate 50 to 500 times the dose, then you could OD on it, meaning that you would have side effects. Keep in mind, it's like magnesium. If you take too much magnesium, you'll die. If you take too much calcium, you'll die. Okay, so you have to find the right dose for you. And when it comes to lithium, well, you can find it online. You can go to marsvenus.com, has the advanced design lithium orotate. Since the study just came out, we have sold out. We're probably this week, we're getting it all, the new shipment in. What we do is, besides just provide the lithium orotate, where you can buy it online, is the point I'm making, is with ours, you had the advanced design with the other things, plus ashwagandha, which is really, really good for your brain and managing stress effectively. We also have something called rhodiola rosea, which is known to increase dopamine and serotonin in the brain. We also have all of the fulvic minerals, which activate all of the enzymes in your body, so you can utilize these proteins and you can utilize these ingredients. So there's a lot of extra things in that, that's a product that I have worked with researchers to develop. And we sell that at our website, marsvenus.com. And it also is available at Amazon. But if you go to marsvenus.com, it has a link to where you can buy it, and you can go there. Or you can buy it online. If you just go lithium orotate, you can find it. And what's confusing about it is some people will say, oh, it's 1,000 milligrams. What that means is it's probably 4 milligrams of lithium, and the rest of it is orotic acid, which turns into lithium orotate. So nobody's going to sell it for more than 10 milligrams in a capsule. There's sort of a limit there, because you don't need more. I actually know the guy who started Whole Foods. He's a friend of mine. And I tried, even before Amazon bought it, I said, can't you get this into the store? And he said, the resistance he got was, this is the logic which the pharmaceutical industry has told everybody. This product is known to make you happy, so people will think they should take the whole jar to be happier. And it's been known that if you have too much lithium, it's toxic. But even a whole jar of 10 milligrams would only give you a stomach ache. And there's never, ever been a reported incident of lithium orotate overdose. Although taking more is just wasting money, and it's too much, and your body doesn't need it. So,
well, we have another question.
I want to talk about homeschooling. Okay.
Oh, okay. Yes, go ahead.
There's wonderful books on no schooling. Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you know that once they started sending kids to school, this is back in 1890 something, they found that children took 5 years longer to mature. Now what we know is that school actually causes your brain to shrink, because the way children were raised before, and if you're going to raise children, this is why I like this book, Hunt, Gather, Parent, okay? Because rather than always telling your children what they should do, you just tell them, if you do that, you'll die. If you do that, it will hurt. You don't give them instructions all the time. Children have this amazing brain. What's that?
That's exactly what I do with my daughter.
Yeah, you just say, if you do this, it's going to have, let them have sovereignty. Let them be in charge of themselves. Life for them is a huge mystery. Everything they do is an experiment. Don't get in the way of it. Stop trying to change them. They will develop beautifully and have genius brains, and they all start out with it, but it shrinks. And this is research shows that the way we parent our children can shrink the brain, lower their intelligence, and now compound that by putting them in a classroom with other people, being told what they should think, told things they don't care about. as opposed to let them explore their passions, their interests, and so forth, that you can only discover if you're homeschooling your children. And there's even another book which is called Dumbing Down Our Children. It's like Dumbing Down Our Kids. It's called No Schooling. These are so many other alternatives people are looking to.
Yes.
And go ahead.
Your point. So I do that with my daughter quite often because I live in the country, and I will tell her, like, all right, go outside, make yourself useful, do something else, but you cannot stay inside. And, well, mom, what do you want me to do? Whatever it is that you get into, because that's exactly what my dad told me. And I remember this one time, and it's still out in the back. She comes in, she's like, Mom, do we still have those like slats of wood in the garage? I'm like, yep. She's like, all right, can I have them? Yep. All right. 5 minutes later, Mom, I need a drill, a hammer, maybe some screws and some nails. And I'm like, all right, you know where to find them. Good luck. And the next thing, and I'm hearing clanking and drilling and hammering. She has built her own tree house in the back that is still standing 2.5 years later. That she still uses to go up when she's studying or reading or just wants to, get outside. But I couldn't agree more with that statement, to let your kids, I mean, if she looks at me and's like, hey, I'm going to go pick up this cottonmouth, I'm going to be like, hey, probably not a good idea because you could end up in the hospital. And all right, well, same as my dad. Hey, I wouldn't bicycle barefoot because then you're going to stub your toe. You're going to do this. And I did it anyway, stub my toe. I didn't do it again after.
That's right. That's right. There's a lot of subtleties to this. And it's a big book called Hunt and Gather Parent. Is a wonderful, wonderful, challenging thing. And it's also, amazing ideas where we go, good job, good job, good job, as opposed to, that's a good job. If you pump things up, then if they don't do really good, then they feel they're not good enough. So it's like, don't be so dependent on the ahas and the good guys, although they're okay. It's just that it's normal. Everything is normal. And the more
sometimes that'll really just get them in check. She'll look at me and be like, how's this? I'm like, subpar at best. Better.
It's just everything is not way high, way low. It's just normal. Children should feel normal. And what's happened is we can't tolerate
with your kids. That's a time, and I don't mean to cut you off, but I think a lot of people leave parenting up to devices or the government or a teacher when that is your job. So get out there and
That's right. That's exactly right. Don't send your kids to school. I'm completely against that. School indoctrinates your children, tells them what they think, tells them what they stop thinking. They lose their sense of identity. They lose their sovereignness. They lose their motivation. It's shown now. And you can even look at the records. The records is back when they started federalizing the school system. It was all in order to make good workers. Don't teach them how to think, how to be independent. Mm-hmm. I'm a very independent thinker. Men from Mars, I've always been against the flow of things. I was kicked out of Stanford and Harvard because my ideas are sexist. And yet nobody thinks my ideas are sexist. I'm talking about how men and women are different. But if you're talking about logic, you're a sexist person, and was kicked out. And, so many people love my books. That's why I'd be invited to go there, but they would not have me. So it's being able to think for yourself, think rationally, think logically, as opposed to depending on what the leaders are saying. We have to evolve by having our own point of view. Just as Hunt, Gather, Parent, that was not my point of view, that whole book. My book is really good. It's about building self-esteem and whatever, but not as much emphasis on spending time just participating with the family. And what you just said about electronic stuff, this is massive addiction. Okay, we're talking when you a child's brain is plastic. And so right away, if they're depending on high stimulation, they're going to become ADD. That's what ADD is. In boys, it's like needing high stimulation. For girls, is feeling overwhelmed. They expand out. They feel too much is coming at them. I have to do this. I have to do this. I have to do this. They can't relax into themselves. And for boys, they can't open up. And these are all symptoms of ADD. They're all symptoms of inhibited dopamine function. It's what we talk about when I learned about all this is when I healed my Parkinson's. One of my books is even staying focused in a hyper world. I go into all the biology of the brain and how our modern world, how sugar, along with anything that's high stimulating, is to counteract children being bored. But it's in that place of being bored that they become creative, that they find within themselves the ability to be happy, as opposed to becoming excessively dependent upon stimulation and other people to make them happy. And this is kind of like the foundation of being happy in life, which is we bring it into the realm of I talk about my relationship books, is the ideal. And this is my most recent book. It's just coming out now. It's called Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, for women only. Be happy with or without a man. It's teaching women not to be so dependent on men for your happiness, whether you're single or married. You have the ability to be happy. And when you can find your happiness without depending on a man, then a man can make you happier. You can depend on him for the extra. Think of men as dessert.
Well, I think that goes to this question really quickly, John, because Eva comes back. She goes, my husband wants to ask how he can start believing in himself more, that he can achieve success. And I am of the opinion that is, yes, it's a great question, but the answer is so nuanced because you have to find that you have to start believing in yourself. That's up to you. If you truly want it, then you have to find it. And it starts as small as getting up every single morning and just taking a breath and reminding yourself, all right, next breath, next step, and not putting so much pressure on yourself to try to do something the next day 100% full out, and you have to give yourself grace. I think is another thing that I feel like a lot of people forget. And finding that the genuine happiness within yourself is only going to radiate outward to where you are able to then make your partner happy and receive the happiness in return, and then you both are elevated.
So let me look at this through the lens of men and women.
Sure.
And for a man, confidence comes. Believing in yourself more is confidence. And confidence happens when you do something and you're successful. Mm-hmm. And where masculinity thrives is when men are helping other people. Now, Ava's asking this question for her husband, so he's not even asking the question, but I presume I'm not sure if she's thinking this for him or whatever. But what I will say is that women can go a long way to support their partner in his building his confidence, because women unknowingly knock down a man's confidence through complaining, through criticizing, through being unhappy with him. So a man's responsible for his own confidence, and what he has to do is he has to do things during the day where he is successful in helping people. I have some men who are depressed, or even women who are depressed, and I say the first thing I do is I make them go to the church and give food to the poor people. Mm-hmm. Hey, just go help people. Okay, when you go help people, you're a human being. Okay, that's what we're all designed to do. So put him in a situation where it's easy for him to help somebody. And if you're married to him, make it easy for him to help you. So here's a fun little exercise that can bump up testosterone in men and bump up estrogen in women if you're in a relationship with him, since she's married. Mm-hmm. This is called raise your hand, 5 fingers up. And what you do is you put your hand up, and that says you're going to ask him to do something for you that takes less than 5 minutes. And his response is to pretend. In the beginning, it will be a pretend. After a while, it'll be natural. He's going to pretend to be enthusiastic and immediately respond to your request. I mean, we're talking about, would you make me a cup of tea? Absolutely, right away, happy to do it. And he goes and does it. It's only 3 minutes. It's only a few minutes, no big deal. And he can do that. Mm-hmm. And what she does is during that time, she doesn't do anything, but just enjoy the fact that he's doing something for her. What this does is has a huge impact on women's hormones. When a woman asks for something, already she's being vulnerable. And particularly in this case, when you did the 5-minute ask, You're asking him to do something new and different that you would normally do yourself. You wouldn't normally ask him for it. So this is out of the ordinary, but has a specific effect on the hormones where she just says, honey, would you run upstairs and get me my this oil and massage it into my feet? Okay. And then he comes, runs down and does it, and take off my shoes. So you give him a little task to do, and you're asking him to do something that will feel good for you that you could normally do for yourself. Then he does it right away. And the result is your estrogen goes up, his testosterone goes up, and hormonal balance is restored. What we're doing is we're constantly having to fight the imbalance of our modern life. In the modern life, women have gone way to their male side. They're fighting battles and wars and so forth. They need support to come back to their female side. If they don't have that support, they feel their brain doesn't turn off. They're overwhelmed. I have to do this, I have to do this. And all it takes is for her to ask for him to do something with complete confidence that you're going to immediately jump to it.
Yep.
And I have to give a funny example of this. I do it in my own marriage. My wife sometimes, and you never can repeat the same thing every day or whatever. It becomes habituated. It doesn't have the effect. But it can be repeated occasionally. And the one that makes me laugh the most is I'll be in bed already and going lying down, and she'll come in with this big smile, totally confident, and says, "John, would you go to the kitchen and make me a glass of warm water? Would you give me a glass of warm water?" Which is a 30-yard walk, 25 yards to the kitchen to get the purified water to bring it back and give it to her. But you have to pretend like, "Oh, sure, I'm happy to get out of bed right now and go do that." But what I find is because I'm doing something for her that I know will help her, immediately my testosterone goes up, any secret grumpiness goes away. And then I look forward to her asking me to do these little things because I know it will make her relax, and I know it will raise my testosterone. It makes me feel good to do something, within a few minutes. How can I make my wife happier?
Yes, and she will be all smiles, and then she'll be like, "All right, baby, what do you want for dinner?" Just to do something little like that.
The little things make a big difference. And
It is.
that was one of the, for men, that was one of the biggest ahas in Men Are From Mars when I explained to men that when it comes to women's hormones, or if they're from Venus is the way I used to say it, every act of love equals another act of love, big or small. It's the little things on a consistent basis that keep a woman feeling special, your commitment to her, that you see her,
Well, it
hear
takes us
her.
back to our feminine energy because someone like me, who it's just me at the house, I'm having to do everything, and what with my chosen career path, it's not it's not easy. It's very, very difficult. Um, and I was always on the defensive until I met the right person, and he is very, very masculine. Um, but he is also very kind and very thoughtful. And so that took me from being all the time back into my feminine energy to where I'm even looking at things going, oh my gosh, do I actually really like the color pink now? Because before, I'm not joking. It's serious. There is another question. This is a good one.
I would underline, you just said everything so beautifully. I mean, that's such an important point. And he's so masculine, and he's even kind. Actually, kindness is the quality of masculinity. Masculinity, if we look at it, the higher level of masculinity is selflessness. It's thinking about others. It's our soldiers. It's our men who give their wives whatever they can, and this is what masculinity is. And what we're training males to be more feminized, talk about your feelings and express your emotions. Kindness is compassion. That's the emotion that opens a woman up. Like you just said, he's not going to come and complain to you or whine to you or feel bad about himself or any of that stuff. He's thinking about you. What can I do to help you, support you, make you feel good? And that makes him feel good. That's the male-female balance.
Yeah, he leads, but he sets an example, and he is very much a leader. Even he knows what I do and how I am in a big crowd. Even though I am very much in demand, he knows that is a very moment for me. And so he will lead us into a crowd. And just that alone, you feel protected, because he's constantly thinking of, and he knows, what I am needing or what I've expressed before. And he's thoughtful. when it comes to things like that. And it really does. It takes you from being on the defensive to more your feminine nature and
Receptive. Femininity is receptive and
yeah,
open to receiving support. And,
yeah.
and this takes us to I think it's our last question for today. We've gone a little over an hour, but I love this question from Hellhound
Mm-hmm.
Rivethead Studios. Okay. It's how can a woman get used to asking for help and not just do it all? Well, this is the whole issue.
Yeah.
Women have this tendency to, when you shift to your male side, you go into, I have to do it all. I have to do it all. And when a man can do something that you don't have to do for yourself,
Yeah.
then immediately your hormones shift. It's like, think about a snowball moving down a hill. This is a woman mind taking on more and taking on more and taking on more. All you have to do to stop the snowball is just stop it for 1 minute.
1 minute.
It loses the momentum. It's that momentum of going and going and going. And so this little request, the 5 minute ask, which is the perfect question for it,
Mm-hmm.
that starts to make a woman feel comfortable asking for help, asking for support. And you start with the little things, which is easy for him to do, and it has a big effect. So this motivates men more. And often, because men get hyper-focused on what they're doing, and if a woman was to ask him to do something, he might have a grumpy reaction or whatever. His mind will go, well, that's going to take this much time, and I still have to do this, and I don't have to. So this just bypasses all that.
Yep.
It allows you to experience your husband's or your partner's willingness. Men always want to make women happy. It's just we're always
Save the day. I mean, you're a superhero. And that's one thing that Cody is his name. And that's one thing he does all the time. And now it's something to where I'm just like, wait, I didn't even have to ask for that. Like it just happened.
right.
And and it's just it's lovely. So you were 100% right.
Well, I want to thank everybody for joining us today, and remember to share this with your friends and let other people know about this. They'll be at all these different places. I think Ken's coming on. Ken, where can people find this? Where can they share it?
It's everywhere. It's on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, on your X account, on my X account. Tiffany shared it. It's on her X account.
And Facebook.
So,
I shared on Facebook.
oh, you shared on Facebook too. Look at you go, girl. So I do want to say, listen, there's a lot of other questions we did not get to. And John has agreed. I had to fly out to California and put him in a headlock, but I'm kidding. John has agreed to come on once a week, right? We're going to do this on Tuesdays, John?
I think so. Yeah. As long as I'm in town. Yeah.
Yeah. So John has agreed to come on and take your questions and answer your questions. And we'll see about getting Tiffany back on here. But this is Jessica is asking, can there be one more question?
Jess, the movers coming in.
Yeah, we
5 minutes, but
we gotta go. But yeah. So everybody make sure you share this out. Join us next week. If John's available, we're going to do this again on Tuesday. And yeah, share it everywhere. This is fantastic.
And when John's not here, I'll come on and wing it. How's that? No, I'm kidding. John says awesome. Great. Next question.
Oh, that's so funny. All right. Is there anything else you guys want to add before we end this?
Well, I was just, while you're talking, I was looking at some of the comments and people are wondering where to get this. And also somebody asked about weight loss and everything. And weight loss is also a big key for balancing sugar. We talked about dementia and Alzheimer's. If you have issues with belly fat, for example, men always ask, again, we had the question, how to build more confidence in a man believing in himself. It's all about building up testosterone. At 74 years old, my testosterone is 50% higher than when I was a young man. And it doesn't have to go down. And one of the major things that causes it to go down is belly fat. Okay. And once you have belly fat, its function is to make more estrogen, and estrogen puts fat on your belly. And so this is why we get fatter as we get older and older. Men's estrogen levels go higher and higher. Their testosterone goes lower. And so again, that protein shake that I was talking about, the special one with the enzymes, is high quality. If people go to marsvenus.com/contact or go to the bottom of the page, we do free coaching on how to do that. And that's free for anybody. If they want to go there, they can ask for that help. We will provide that help. If you put in your phone number, we'll give you a call. If you want to email, we'll set up an appointment for people that want to understand our program for helping restore balanced brain function. Same program causes you to get rid of belly fat. And this is a program that works for people. I won't say I'm always perfect at it. Okay. Once my belly gets really flat, that I feel really good, then I'll cheat and I'll go have some ice cream, whatever. It will come back, but then I just come back to the program and no deprivation. It's just eating more protein is what it is over what you're normally doing. So it's a win-win for people without having to deprive themselves. And of course, we also have programs for helping to cleanse. Everybody's talking about the importance of cleansing because we are toxic. But, we do both those things and we give help for it. If people are interested, they can go to marsvenus.com/contact or give us your phone number at my website. It's all private and we'll give you a call.
Awesome. So I'm going to end this. I'm going to, you two, if you would hang out for a second so we can chat real quick.
Okay.
But I'm going to end this. John and Tiffany, thank you both so much. You've answered a lot of questions and people love it. And Eva says that was actually her husband's question, just for the record.
Oh, we believe it.
So the way to believe in himself more is help others, do little things for his wife, is going to raise his testosterone, be less passive in your life, watch less TV, scroll less, and do more. These are all things that help build testosterone. And then ultimately, regular sex is very, very important.
Awesome. All right. We'll see you guys next week, hopefully, as long as John is in town. We'll see y'all later. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Tiffany. It's a real pleasure meeting you.
You as well.